My first sentence is going to be about my first peer that I would like to apologize to them for getting frustrated and not giving clear instructions. That was my fault. I should have done that. So now that I've done that, and if you watched the video, you got my apology. If you didn't watch the video, then you did not get my apology. For those of you who are here, please pay close attention. We don't have the same problem that we did in the first period, right? Um, just pay attention. Just pay attention. It'll be good. So I asked you to draw this this table right here. Assuming that you're not the best at sketching or drawing, it will look like this. That's perfectly fine. I don't care about how beautiful it looks. I just want you to have the right measurements and to be able to measure. So I'm going to set you up in groups. I'll put you in groups of probably 4, because we have a lot of people missing. 4, and we'll have 4 groups of people. Hang on. I will designate a leader. The leader, you are responsible to assign each and every one of your members one of these to not only measure, but to convert to the scale measurement. You're all going to measure together. This is what's going to happen. When you measure together, the leader will grab the leader will just actually take the measurement. You, whoever the leader is going to have 2 kids. One of them grab the end of the measuring tape and the other one holding the tape, the actual box of it. The room is really long and you don't have enough tape to measure the entire thing. So you might have to stop somewhere around probably 3/4 of it, put a line on it, and then measure from there to the other end. And you're going to add both measurements. Nope, like I said, it does. Well, you can put your foot right there, but it's better if you just draw a little line to mark it. Here's another thing. When you measure the room, let's assume you're looking at it from the top. Let's assume that this is the room. An example. When you're measuring from here to here, you don't want a kid measuring from this side and the other kid on this side, because you end up with a line like that, which is not correct. This room luckily has tiles. I need you to measure literally along the tile, right along the tile, and keep it that way. That will give you the most accurate length of the room. Do we all understand that part? I have to explain it like 5 times. So now that I'm explaining it now, hopefully you understand that. Okay, yes. So now when you do it the other way, when you find the width, the same thing applies. You want to go along the lines of the tile. Yes. Let's pretend that we don't have that little area in the back and it goes all the way to this wall right here. So you can measure from here to the door or from this side to the wall, but do not go on that side. Let's pretend that it doesn't exist. When you are measuring, I'm sorry? No. This is good. I want the whole thing. I'm just saying. Yeah, just from here, from this line. Yes, exactly. From this line that way. You can actually measure this line right here, because this line goes all the way down there. All right. For the student desk, I want you to measure the width as the width of the actual desk, and the length as from here to the very middle of the chair. If you can you get up for me? So if you measure from here to here, it is different than from here to the middle. Notice how this is higher. So go to the highest point, basically right in the middle, and that will give you the most accurate length of the chair. So you want one for your desk, one for the long wall, one for the short wall, and then one for my desk. My desk is pretty easy. You can just go around it, and that's it. That's all you need. When you're measuring, guys, I need the leader to be taking down the measurements, 2 kids to be holding the measuring tape, and another kid to be maintaining the tape along the lines, because it'll be hard to do it from one end to the other. So you want somebody else to be keeping it on the line. So make sure that everyone is doing something the whole time. Everyone. We only need the leader to be taking down measurements. Everybody else going to be, actually measuring and literally writing down the measurements. By the time you're done, by the way, the leader, all you're doing is literally writing down the actual measurements, nothing else, the actual measurements. When you have all the actual measurements, let's say that this is 30 and the short wall, is 10, just as an example. And notice that I use feet. I would highly suggest you use feet because of the length of the room. It's pretty big. If you use inches, you're going to have this huge number. If you use centimeters, even a larger number. So please use feet. You're going to have a measuring tape and it has feet on it. Use feet to make it easier. And then the conversion is up to you. But for this one, use feet. And basically, that's all you want. You want this side completed and then this side completed. Once you're done with that, you let me know and you go back to your seats and I'll give you instructions as to what to do next, which is the following. Everyone pay attention so you don't lose me and you don't lose it too. Let's pretend that the room it's 30 feet in length, but your paper, it only goes about 12 inches length, right? Are we good? Are we following so far? What you want to do is you want to imagine that the room is being scaled down to where it can fit in your paper. Kind of like a dilation, actually not kind of, exactly like a dilation. You have this big rectangle, you're going to dilate it from as huge as it is to as tiny as to fit in your paper. So you're going to use the properties of dilation. What do you need to do? Find the scale factor, right? Find the scale factor. You have to make sure that it fits into your book. So for example, you can say, well, 1 foot on the big room will equals to 1 inch on my paper with the ruler. Well, that could work. However, if the length, can I see this? If the length of the room is 30 feet, that means you need 30 inches on this paper. Would it fit? No, it only goes up to 12, right? So that means you have to reduce it and keep maybe half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch. Find one that will be able to fit in this paper. And that will allow you to do that. But do not use squares, because the squares, you won't be able to work it out. Yes. Okay, do not use a little square. So for example, let's say that I said, well, I'm going to use 1 foot equals half a centimeter, just because I want to make it small. So 1 foot equals half a centimeter. You're going to use that measurement, that scale, for every single measurement you took. So how do I convert 30 to the scale measurement? I'll show you how. We use simple proportion. I'm going to put feet right here and centimeters right here. I'm talking about those two things, right? Feet and centimeters. And you may have done this in 6th grade, or you may have skipped it. It depends on who you had as a teacher. So basically, I'm going to do a proportion. What do I know about feet and centimeters? Do what? I just told you. What do you know about it? That 1 foot equals half a centimeter, right? And my measurements are in feet, right? And my measurements on the book are going to be in centimeters, right? So I want to know how many centimeters 30 inches would be. And that's why I set it up. If 1 foot equals half a centimeter, then how many centimeters will 30 feet be? A simple proportion will be to cross multiply and then divide. So this comes down here and that gives me 15. This comes down here and I get 1x. Bring down the equal sign. 1x equals 15 centimeters. So when I go to your book with my ruler, I should be able to measure exactly 15 centimeters that will represent 30 feet in the real room. Do we understand that part? Do you understand the proportion part right here? Yeah, it's just cross multiply and divide, and it's up there in case you get lost, up here too, and up here too. So, yes, so basically any number that you have, any measurement from here, you will put at the bottom, and then cross multiply and divide, and that's it. That's how you get your new measurements of the your scale measurements. I think I did one more over here. Oh no, I didn't. So that was another example. Somebody measured the length of the wall, and it was 33.42. I'll explain how they got 42. And then when they did the proportion, that's how they got the answer. No, not yet. I just want you to see. I'll leave it up here. But here, if you get, for example, you get 33 I think that was 33 and 5 inches. So you have calculators. That's the best part. 33 feet and 5 inches. How do I turn 5 inches into a decimal? Five inches. How do I turn it into a decimal? So that I can say 33 point something. Because 33 and 5 inches is not the same thing as 33.5. 33.5 is 33 feet and 6 inches, right? So how can I convert that 5 inches into a decimal? By what? Not 30. Yes, 12. Thank you. What do you divide by 12? Huh? I said, why do you divide by 12? Exactly. There are 12 inches in 1 foot, right? So to find the basically if you have 33 feet and 5 inches, and I want to make that into a decimal, the 33 doesn't matter, right? That's still full value. But the 5, I can't say 0.5. 0.5 would mean 6 inches, right? So you would divide whatever you have here by 12, and that gives me approximately 442, 0.42. So that will be my decimal part. Do we have any questions on this one? Does everyone understand this part? Conversion. Good. There's a lot of mathematical concepts in this project, and I want you to use them all. This isn't about drawing. I don't want your drawing to be perfect and beautiful. I want the mathematical parts to be behind it. I want to see the work on a different sheet of paper of you showing me all your proportions. I want to see all your conversions, not just on the calculator. And I want to I want to see your scales, which is actually, which I wrote over here. Do what? Yeah, I want a sheet of paper where everything is clean and another paper where all your work is. So here's another thing. Once you get all these measurements, for example, you're right here and you got all the measurements, and now you go back to your seats, the team, the leader will assign each and every one of you one of these labels to convert to the scale measurement. That means no one should be doing all of them. You're only going to do one. So whenever you get back to your seats, everyone should be working on one conversion or one scale measurement. Do we all understand that part? Okay, good. Are we going to have any kind of chaos later on because you don't know what we're doing? No? Maybe. If you do, raise your hand and then I'll come to you. Hopefully, I have coffee now. I didn't have coffee in the morning, so that made a huge difference. Uh, so, all right, so I'm going to pause this and I'm going to change it. And by the way, those of you who are at home, once you get the measurements, I'll come back and tell you what to do with them. All right, so the goal of today was for you to get all the measurements that you needed. Attention here, please, bigger story. And to get all the scale measurements you're going to need. Now, every group has somewhat different measurements, whether you're using inches or centimeters. On Monday, what I'm going to do, well, your assignment for Monday is to create basically a replica of my room. Basically, a replica means like, in reality, yeah, it's a model. This room, the one that you just measured. And I want you to use the measurement that you received, that you found, but I will need 25 of these desks, and I only need one of the teacher. That's fine. You're going to maintain the same length and width of the room. And here's your assignment. Your assignment is to build a design where you can rearrange the desk any way you want to where you think is the best arrangement possible for your class. Huh? Yes, in a sense, yes. I want to decorate my room in a way that you like it, in a way that is more efficient for you. Move it any way you want. You know how I have it like it looks like a band kind of orchestra setup because you all get to see me. She doesn't know what what means, but I want you to rearrange it any way you want that you think will be the best way. Whether it is by groups of tables, whether it is by the traditional rows, or it is the way that it is right now, or any other different way that you believe. Hang on, that you believe is the best way, considering that I cannot move the smartboard from this side. So that means that the smartboard has to be right here at all times. Because I can't move it. The door is obviously right there, so you can't block it. This door is right there, so you can't block it. And there's another door right there. So consider those things. You cannot move this, you cannot move this, or this. But everything else, including my desk, we can move. Yes, obviously we have more than that. Actually, let's do it realistically and use 30. Well, we do have more than 25 kids. Wait, do we? How many do we have here? 28, right? No, I think we have 25 actually. So this will work. Never mind. I'll take that back. This is my longest class, and I do have what am I saying? And I do have 25 desks. Anyway, listen up. Do not lose me. Everyone in your group should have a different design. I just know that not one person in this group is going to have the exact same design as somebody else. That's just not possible. I want to see your design, your own creation. I would suggest you get a piece of paper, you draw the desk, and cut them in little pieces, and move them around so that you can move them around physically and see how they look better before you draw them. Does that make sense? So create a paper version of the desk and this one right here, and put them on your paper and move them around. See where do they fit? Kind of like what I'm doing right now, right here. Yes. Yes, you make a new model of the classroom using everything that we just learned, which is scale factor, the proportion part, the dilation, all those things. Yes. Would be probably, well, whatever. What is it to give you? That tells me that that's going to be 17 centimeters and 25.21. And I'll come over here. Oh, hang on. Guys, we don't have much time, but listen up. On Monday, listen carefully so you're not shocked. On Monday, I'm going to walk around with the ruler, this type, the small one, and I'm going to measure your paper. So if your paper says that you should have 16.72 centimeters as the length of the room, when I go and measure it, I should measure exactly 16.72 centimeters. Do you understand that? That means that when you create your drawing, you're actually measuring. You're using the exact measurements that you wrote down there. Is that clear? Do we have any questions? Yes. The good thing about the centimeters is that you can break it down to tens, and so you can work with the inches too. I need you to use graph paper to do it. Yes. So one more time, when you create your drawing, make sure you're using the exact measurements in centimeters or inches that you wrote in this section of the scale measurements. Please make sure you do that, because I want to walk up to your paper and then I measure 20 centimeters and it says that it's supposed to be 16. That will be wrong for every single part. Do we have any questions? All right, good.